Well, it's good to know Princess Catherine is in the Christmas spirit.
And Meghan Markle tries to make beige stockings happen. Hello and welcome to Heirs Spares, your go-to for insight and opinion on two of the most talked about royal couples from both sides of the Atlantic. I'm Kinsey Schofield, and I'll be bringing you updates on Prince Harry and Meghan Markle from sunny California.
And I'm Rupert Bell, and I will be bringing you updates from what has been a wet and wild United Kingdom. But we enter a cold spell. But you really wanted that weather update, didn't you? But I've really got the news with regard to the Prince and Princess of Wales.
That's right, Rupert. We've got something to look forward to. We have it to look forward to every year now since 2021, Princess Catherine's Christmas Carol concert. It's just a fun way to see the royal family, get together around the holiday season. They usually have some A-list stars there, but no one is a bigger star than Prince Louis. We get to see Prince George, Prince Louis, and Princess Charlotte, as well as Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales. One year I loved it because Pippa rolled up, Zara rolled up, I believe Carol Middleton rolled up, and they all had on a beautiful cranberry color to match the Princess of Wales. So the whole thing is just so wonderfully choreographed, demonstrates unity, love, family, tradition. And we are excited that we now know that we're going to get to see these visuals on December 5th at Westminster Abbey, but it's being filmed for broadcast, which will air on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day twice. Together at Christmas is what she calls this, but this year the theme is love in all forms, whether it's in families, relationships, or across communities. Does it annoy you at all that Meghan Markle told Fortune's most powerful women that her Christmas special was coming out in November, only to change her mind and release it December 3rd, just days before Catherine's concert?
Well, one's going to be appalling, and it doesn't really matter when she releases it, okay? And the other is now a Christmas tradition here. And I think that's what's quite important, that Princess Catherine has actually developed something that has now become part of the Christmas landscape in this country post-COVID. And I think that's quite an important thing. It sort of sets the tone. It obviously has the backing of ITV. It's now something that will go out on Christmas Eve. So it has a sort of proper poignant feel as to when it is broadcast, although of course we will see all the pictures beforehand, everyone arriving at the Abbey and what it's about. I might go against you. You said Prince Louis would be the biggest star. I hate to say it. Well, I'm not hating to say it. It's actually Princess Catherine's gig, and she is the star of the show here. And I think we should, while it's great to see the children, it's her gig, it's her show, and she manages to pull in some decent A-listers. And, Kate Winslet is part of acting royalty in this country, amongst others that will be taking part. I think it will be another rip-roaring success. And there's always a surprise somewhere. Something happens. Was it one year she started playing the piano? Mm-hmm. Well, not that she was obviously a pianist, but I just wonder what the extra surprise, because wasn't last year, if my memory serves me correct, it was all about the ballet and how they had to keep it secret from Prince Louis.
Well, no, Prince Louis he managed to keep the secret from Princess Charlotte, which is actually incredibly impressive based on what we've seen from Prince Louis.
Yeah, so I think there will be something that will give it a real factor, probably. And actually, as it's always there, it's quite a busy time in a sense for the royal family. There are state visits from Germany, and also you've got obviously got the Meghan stuff going on at the same time. But actually, let's just put that to one side before the steam starts to come out of my ears when we get talking about that. But in the meantime, I think that's the December the 3rd, an important day, and I'm sure lots of people will be looking forward to watching it. I don't know whether you
December the 5th. The 3rd is the torturous ones.
Oh,
but you know what you know what else I thought was really sweet this year? You're talking just about how beautiful this is coming from Catherine and how thoughtful this is coming from Catherine. Well, she's honoring the Duchess of Kent this year by having one of the charities she co-created, Future Talent, perform. You know, kind of an unsung hero, the Duchess of Kent. We still see the Duke of Kent, 90 years old, showing up to support the royal family, showing up to represent the royal family. The Duchess of Kent disappeared, continued to live a life of service, but without all the fanfare. What a sweet little wink from Catherine.
Well, I think she was an unsung hero. She taught in a school, didn't want the limelight, and her thing was music, and this future talent thing was something that she absolutely was passionate about. So I think it is important to acknowledge a person who was an unsung hero. We used to see her at Wimbledon, and the famous moment when she consoled Jana Novotná after she lost in the Wimbledon final. But luckily, Jana managed to win it a few years down the line. But that would tended to be her. But she didn't like the spotlight, and what she wanted to do was just get on with her serving. And I think it wasn't always easy for her, but she managed to get on with conduct the life that she wanted. And I think it is very important, because I think she was much loved within there's no doubt about it, much loved within the royal family, a very important member of the royal family. So I think it is perfect that Princess Catherine has made this Christmas carol service and this service some homage to someone who played a significant charitable part of the royal family with what she did, but as I say, in the most unassuming and unheralded way.
I agree with you. Also, we know so little about the Duchess of Kent because she did not put a lot of information about herself out there. But knowing how faith driven she was and how spiritual she was, converting to Catholicism at one point in her life because she just was so compelled to do so. How sweet to attach her to a faith-based event like Catherine's Christmas Carol concert. So I really am looking forward to seeing that, and I appreciate that. Any last words on Catherine's event before we move on?
Well, I think we should enjoy it for what it is. I think it is important. It is, remember, at the time of year, a Christmas celebration, and it is important. The royal family are head of the church in this country, or the king is. So, it is a time to bring families together. And this is, I think, the point that Catherine wants to get over. And Christmas is a time for sort of healing, celebrating and enjoying. But at the heart of it, from the point of view, it is it's a religious festival celebrating the birth of Christ. And I think that's the point that Catherine and certainly the late Duchess of Kent would want to emphasize.
Absolutely. All right. So headlines over here making waves are that of Sophie Winkleman, who is a gorgeous, unbelievable actress. She's so beautiful, and she just looks like a princess. She's a lady, though. She told the Telegraph she told the Times of London that the lifestyle we imagine when it comes to the British royal family, the pomp and pageantry, it's not all that. It can be total hell. Now, she married into the royal family. She made a comment about how she allowed her mother-in-law to do the wedding planning, and she knew like no one at her wedding, but she's not resentful of it at all. She's just like, I think, clarifying that it's a weird situation to be thrust into. And she said, the more I get to know the royal family, the more I get that their lives are total hell. And that level of unasked for fame is a form of torture. And she stresses that none of them went on Pop Idol or something to be famous. To have that sort of blinding spotlight in your face from when you're born, not knowing quite whom you can trust, not knowing if someone's going to betray you, people writing lies about you the whole time. It's just brutal. I've seen some criticism of this, saying that, she probably shouldn't have said that. Rupert, it's the truth.
Yes, look, and this is, I suppose, if you look at it, Harry didn't like it. And that's why he got out of it. He didn't like being
He
the
didn't
fact
like
his
he didn't like parts of it because he sure
well,
is trying to
yeah, okay.
take advantage
Well,
of some of it.
if you look at it, it is a permanent goldfish bowl. From the moment, if you're a actress or a actor, or you get into a celebrity situation, you probably haven't had it from the moment you were born. You probably maybe into your late teens, early 20s, maybe even later, but you are coming at it later.
And you
So
might
therefore,
have
it's some,
aspired for it. You might have
yeah,
wanted it. Yeah.
yeah. And sometimes the grass isn't always greener on the other side, but it comes with the territory. If you're going to be a successful actor or actress, then, fame is going to come with that. But in the royal family, you are expected by birth to just be on show. And that is where I think it is a hard thing. And for William and Catherine, it is the navigating of how they bring their children on so that they can at least feel that they're not permanently in a goldfish bowl. Because we know for George, it's going to be a moment where has no choice. His destiny is preordained in many ways. He knows he will become king in this country as a result of being firstborn, end of. And
Right.
he has no choice. And this is the important thing, is for the parents of those three children. And that's what I think they are very keen to stress, to give them the feeling that they're not permanently being gawped at. But inevitably that happens. So I think what she was saying, it may be slightly sort of headliney words, torture and living hell. I don't think it's much. It's not a bed of roses. Let's be absolutely clear. You may think it is, and yes, they get everything done for them, but actually, you and I can go to the supermarket and get what we want. When they go to the supermarket, if they can at all, then they know people going, oh, look, and then there'll be people
Their
looking at
cell
their
phones
shopping bag.
out, cell phones
And they'll be
out.
looking at what they're buying, oh my goodness me, Catherine's gone and bought, what's that? Oh my, so they can't even do that. So it is tough on that respect. Normal life, but on the other hand, you have to accept they obviously have a gilded life, but it is a life that basically puts you in a goldfish bowl 24/7. And
Yeah,
that, I think, is what she's referring to.
it's also about what makes you happy.
Mm.
If you care, there are people that don't care about expensive clothes. There are people that don't care about, having cameras in their faces. There are people that just doesn't appeal to them. And I see that with some of our current senior working members of the royal family. Like Catherine will dress from the high street. Catherine, I think, would always dress from the high street. And when we do see her in expensive designer outfits, she's usually trying to highlight a British designer because that's part of her job. She is patron of several fashion focused entities. So, but, I think you've made such a great point. William and Catherine have been so careful in how they've created these boundaries that if we did see a photograph of the children that we knew we weren't supposed to see, I think we would reject that image. We wouldn't want to see that image. We wouldn't share that image. They've done such a good job of training us to understand what their expectations are, and we respect that. And Harry and Meghan could have done the same thing, but I do really applaud William and Catherine for how they've handled bringing up this beautiful young family.
Well, I think the press in this country sort of understand now, because as we know,
Yeah, but remember that video of Prince William berating that photographer that was following him and his children on a bike. I mean, that really stands out to me.
And I think there is they know there's a time and a place. That's why George was seen at this, the service at the Royal Albert Hall just at the beginning of the month. So there is a time and a place. And I think that's what they are absolutely passionate about protecting, to try and make it so that they can feel that they can see their friends play sport. And, we don't see pictures of whatever team George may be playing in at Lambrook. I used to play Lambrook when I was at school next door. It used to have the worst hot chocolate of any school in the when we used to go, because after matches, so we're digressing again, but I feel, it's time to give some Lambrook insight from way back when, because the school bears no resemblance to what I went to playing rugby alongside Prince Andrew. But you used to get some wretched, horrible hot chocolate, but
was it too powdery? Was it too powdery?
Well, back in the 60s, God knows what it was, but it claimed to be
that is
hot
mud
chocolate.
Water. That is not hot chocolate.
But I think it was probably water. It just mud water, basically mud. It was disgusting, and then you'd get a curled up sandwich. I remember Sunningdale had the best teas amongst the prep schools in Berkshire where we used to play against. Anyway, we digress. But the point is, we don't see pictures of them doing the sporting stuff. Look, I was at prep school when we had the royal family, the documentary at 69. We had all the cameras coming around for that, but that was very controlled. But you don't, and I think it is very important that this status quo is maintained for the sanity of the children, that they sort of know, right, crank them up. We're on show now. We're going to church now on Christmas Day. We're going to go to this carol service. We're going to be doing one or two things, but then the rest of the time it's back behind, the Forest Lodge and trying to be as normal as is humanly possible to really ensure that they can at least look back at their childhood, which wouldn't have always been the case within the royal family, to have a more normal life. So a pretty long answer there, but I think we got the drift, didn't we? And the fact is that my hot chocolate at Lambrook was never very good.
It was insufficient. It was insufficient, and you are clearly there's some PTSD there. Then I'm sorry. Well, I'm sorry. Do you think that the children believe in Father Christmas? Because I want to imagine Louis
hang on.
Cookies out for Santa Claus.
I think there becomes a time. Well, I think we all want to believe in Father Christmas.
Yeah, I know I do.
I think hang on. I'm not. What do you expect me to say? I'm afraid I've always just we've all got our images of what has happened. And Father Christmas, is the innocence and the pure joy of Christmas.
I love that.
And I'll tell you what.
Oh wait, his hats are on my nails. See, I've got.
Anyway, but I'll tell you. There was a moment, and we used to get in our stocking, and I know stockings are going to be something we'll be talking about a bit later on, as we've seen from a video. But we used to have big socks filled. But Father Christmas seemed to only go to the tattiest and cheapest places to get stuff for mine, but he would always leave a tangerine at the bottom and half a crown.
Oh, well, that's
which
sweet.
Is an old money, which is 2 and 6 anyway. So I get a half a crown at the bottom. But so getting down to that, Father Christmas. Oh, methinks you didn't actually. You weren't giving me the best things that you could. Absolute tat.
You think Father Christmas went to the dollar store for old Rupert Bell?
Well, I don't know where. The elves obviously were a bit fed up with what they were making by the time they got to me and my brother. So we got the things that were left in the corner, and there were some far more worthy children who deserved better presents than I did. So there you go. That's my stocking angst.
Rupert Bell was on the naughty list. Thank you for confirming. Thank you for confirming what I always suspected. You are a heathen. All right. Well, that's a good segue into Meghan Markle facing backlash for Beige and depressing as ever Christmas collection promo. This holiday, while others are chasing the rush, find your sense of calm with Peak. Peak is a luxury wellness brand powered by rare plants and cutting-edge ingredients, offering the perfect remedy for the season's hustle and bustle. Their science-backed botanicals, minerals, and vitamins support metabolic function, immune health, sustained energy, and radiant skin. In this festive season, choose serenity as the ultimate luxury with Peak. One of their newest essentials, the Deep Hydration Protocol, is a day-to-night electrolyte system that keeps your body and skin hydrated while promoting better sleep. Made without sugar, fillers, or artificial flavors, and crafted with natural ingredients for a clean, spa-like taste you can feel good about. Daily use supports hydration, glowing skin, improved sleep, and sustained energy. I personally love to start my day with BT Fountain, their beauty electrolyte, the multitasker your beauty routine has been missing. BT Fountain floods your system with hydration, leaving your skin as bright as your Christmas tree. Bonus, it keeps my energy high long after the coffee buzz fades. Feel the holiday magic and unlock your healthiest glow with the most exciting offer of the season, 20% off site-wide for life, plus a complimentary exclusive holiday bundle. Go to peaklife.com/Kinsey. That's PIQUE life.com/Kinsey. This is hydration redefined. Try it and glow from the inside out. Now back to the show. On Saturday, Meghan posted a video of herself assembling gifts while hard selling her as ever holiday range. You know, the $64 candle, booze, and mundane mulled spice kit. I thought that these visuals were dark and miserable, and it reminded me to see those brown stockings on the fireplace of Meghan telling the book club that she opens the door barefoot to not intimidate her guests. Like, so her guests immediately think that they're at home with Meghan. She likes to be barefoot when she opens the door. And I see these ugly stockings and I think, are those the socks you just took off before you open the door?
Well,
And then I can't help but also laugh. At the same event, she said she puts mugs out the night before to make her to-do list shorter, as if like that's, curing cancer. Just, I put my mugs out the night before. Oh my God. Netflix gave you how much money?
Don't get me going on the mugs out story. That just
It
it's too much info.
inspires you. It inspires you.
Well, no, but I looked at this video. The music, that sort of tinkling of the piano, trying to create a sort of ambiance. But it looks, what you're seeing, the most, cold, calculating, sort of soulless thing.
Soulless, joyless.
Joyless, soulless, and
familyless.
I mean, I thought people had sort of either made stockings for the children, would make stockings. Why hasn't she got, if I'm not mistaken, I mean, it's very important that Santa has a carrot at the bottom for the feed the reindeers and maybe a little tot of something to help him on his way. I mean, you wouldn't want the police sort of breathalyzing him after starting his deliveries. But, that was, to me, that was important. But that just
honestly, Santa Claus Meghan Markle and Prince Harry probably would get Santa Claus arrested. So don't tempt them, because if anybody's going to get Santa Claus thrown in the slammer, it's Harry and Meghan. The ruiners of Christmas.
If I was Santa, I'd be taking one look at the brown stocking and I'd been saying, Todd, what are the deers called anyway? Blitzen, come on, we're out of here.
Yeah, exactly. Rudolph, let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah. So anyway, because that just looked, and obviously the product placement, but I don't know how many people are coming around for Christmas, but I hope if you're going to promote something like this, we don't just have to see the children, but Christmas is about families. The joy of the stockings is for the children. That's what it's all about. It's
Amen.
The innocence, the joy of what we're celebrating, but also the sort of traditional side, that now comes with a modern day Christmas experience. But that just looked brown. I mean, give me a break. I mean,
it looks like an apocalyptic Christmas. Like everyone, we've run out of food, emergency, everyone's dead. Come celebrate Christmas on this with these brown, ugly stockings in this miserable ambiance.
And walking with the apples and then this shul run. I mean, if I go into the garden, the last thing I do is go around with a shul. If I'm in the garden, I put my gardening clothes on, get out there, and I did yesterday. I had to chop my dahlias down because we got a frost and I've had to move a lot of manure onto them to protect them. But she didn't look like she was going around the garden. It looks like she's wafting her way through with a bag full of someone's picked some apples. It just looked dull. And if that is what they're suggesting, to entice us in to watch the program, well, I mean, I think it's going to be that you don't need to take a sleeping pill. You just need to watch 10 minutes of this and you'll be asleep by the looks of things. Now, I may be completely wrong, but this trailer, I mean, you normally try and find the best bits in a trailer, don't you?
Yeah.
Isn't that the point? And there's nobody. Is she talking to anybody? Well, normally we get a clip of her interacting in a sort of jolly way that only she can,
Right.
with somebody. Do we know who might be the guests?
We have no clue, but I mean, I can guarantee you they won't share DNA with her, which is what I would expect from a Christmas holiday special where I mean, like no joy, no family, no color. Also, there's been a lot of criticism online. I mean, we're talking about how just it's not what you expect from Christmas. Like it's kind of like, oh, dull and like giving Tim Burton. Oh, no, that's an insult to Tim Burton because I love The Nightmare Before Christmas, but it's giving something dark. Okay. But people are making fun of the fact that she said in the Netflix series that the royal family really stole color from her. She wasn't allowed to wear color while she was a working member of the British royal family, which is a lie. But then to see the way she beiges up Christmas, you're like, gosh, you clearly like this color scheme. Stop lying.
Yeah, but isn't Christmas all twinkly lights and multicolored, knickknacks, sort of,
Peppermints, candy canes,
anything, brighten up the place. I mean, you fill your house full of tat, don't you? But it's all sparkling tat, nice tat, and you put it around, you put lights around. People, I mean, we've got it now over here because, of course, you can drive around streets of America, and I mean, it's like what we describe as Blackpool illuminations. I mean, houses are just lit up. And
when I was there, I did a open top bus tour of the Christmas lights on all of the streets, and I was in heaven. It was so gorgeous.
Well, no, but it's the houses now. We're doing the house thing. I mean, there's already people near me with Christmas house lights on outside.
Love that. I love that.
But that's a real, that's come over from. We brought that over from you. But it's so important. But isn't that, people outdoing each other with their Christmas decorations outside the house, and you definitely see it here. It's not worth me doing because no one's going to see it because I don't have many houses. Well, the cat would, but not many other people would see it, and a few sheep would see it. The odd grey squirrel will be coming around thinking, "Oh, what a summer I've had! Look at the Christmas lights. You've forgiven me," So, but I do like all that. But then when you look at Meghan's thing, you say, "Well, where's the spontaneity? Where's the joy? Okay, people have just crashed round. Well, we'll see what's in the fridge, and away we go." And by the way, I got this mug out 48 hours ago, just in preparation for talking to you this evening.
Thank you.
As an homage to Meghan, I was ready.
That's perfect. 48 hours ago, Rupert Bell prepared himself for this interview
and this cup of Earl Grey tea is now stone cold. So it feels like I made it 48 hours ago. But anyway, we digress.
Yeah. Hey, I want to tell you about today's sponsor. If you haven't heard of beef tallow before, it's simply rendered beef fat. And before you think, wait, beef fat and skincare, stay with me. Beef tallow is actually packed with skin-loving nutrients and fatty acids that mimic your skin's natural barrier. That means it helps keep your skin hydrated, smooth, and calm without all the toxic synthetic stuff and fillers in most moisturizers. And that's exactly what Amalo is built around. They've taken this old school, time-tested ingredient, something our ancestors used for generations as a natural moisturizer or healer, and brought it back in the cleanest, most thoughtful way possible. Amalo is a small, family-owned business making everything right here in the U.S. Each batch is handmade with grass-fed, grass-finished beef tallow and organic essential oils, no unnecessary additives. Just pure, effective skincare that works with your skin, not against it. And honestly, that's what makes Amalo so great. It's all about simplifying your skincare routine. Getting back to basics using ingredients your skin already understands. It's clean, it's natural, and it actually works. So, if you're ready to make the switch, head to amalo.com/Kinsey and use code Kinsey15 for 15% off your order. I hope you enjoy the rest of the show. Thanks for watching. Let's move on to an interesting story. Is it interesting? I mean, it's interesting because we expect William and Catherine to go to Australia soon. And so that's why this is interesting. Harry and Meghan hint at future Australia plans with telling statement. This is according to the Mirror. In a letter to celebrity astrologer Angela Pearl, whom they met in New York in October, the couple expressed their consideration for a visit to the Down Under. The letter, penned on stationery bearing the joint royal monogram, infuriating, read, "Dear Angela, we want to thank you for joining us, redacted. Your energy and insight were such a welcome addition." While a portion of the note was redacted when Angela shared it on Instagram, the couple added on a separate note, "We hope your family in Ukraine remains safe." That is sweet. "And we look forward to staying in touch, especially as we look to visit Australia again." Now, I just had a conversation probably 2 months ago with Tom Bauer because we were just kind of going over his book Revenge, because he has a new book coming out in March 2026. And boy, is it going to disrupt Harry and Meghan's lives. But I said to him, because he says in Revenge that Australia, and tell me if you agree with this, he says that Australia is where Meghan really she sees her popularity, and that's where she determines that she refuses to live in the shadow of Prince William and Catherine. And then they're talking about how Diana had been in Australia previously and she'd been so popular. And so that just gives Meghan this false sense of importance when it comes to the hierarchy of the British royal family. And we start to see the unraveling and Megxit basically on the horizon. Now, they were incredibly popular in 2018, but if you look at polling for 2025 in Australia, they're at the bottom. And I said to Bauer, why didn't they nurture that? If they recognized that Australia was an important country for them support-wise, why wouldn't they nurture that relationship and visit them or do something in the last 5 years? And he said, because it wasn't Hollywood. And their objective is fame and fast cash. And if you look at the polling, their popularity has declined. Do you see that it's a Commonwealth country? Do you see this again as Harry and Meghan trying to force the half in, half out royal life if they do visit Australia?
Well, they do. That is all part of what they're trying to do when they went to
Canada,
Nigeria, Colombia, and even this Canada trip, which now seems to have backfired in terms of what was told to the royal family. We got the recollections may vary about the fact that he told the royal family that he was going to Canada, and they say, when did he? So again, they've got themselves into a bad position because no one really wants them. Of course, just recently, Princess Anne's been down there doing her thing, just getting on with it. I think someone said even recycling clothes from 50 years ago.
Yeah, her outfit from 1952, she looked banging in it.
Well, in 1952, she was one then.
Wait. What did you say? She was 1 year old?
No, she wasn't one. No, 1952. She would have been about 2 or 3 then. You said 52 rather than 72. Which
72. Yes, 72.
Yeah.
But my argument for that is she did incredible work in Australia. Yeah. We watched her. She did multiple engagements in Australia. But do you know what everybody was talking about? Harry and Meghan and the Kardashians. So I get so frustrated because I feel like Harry and Meghan, they're frivolous, and a trip to Australia would be all about their own publicity, but there's no denying that they disrupt and distract from the real good, hard-working members of the royal family. And somebody needs to shut that down.
But how do they? Because they're not members of the royal family. What can they do? If they want to be these permanent disruptors, a negative influence, because the Princess Royal goes out there unassumingly, gets on it, then goes to Singapore, again gets onto it with a stack full of events, and as I think whether it was the British ambassador or someone, and I may be misquoting, saying, when we if it's anybody else turned up, no one, but because it was the Princess Royal, we couldn't beat people off for turning up. She has pulling power, and the people of Singapore and Australia wanted to be part of what she was doing. But it is part of the endless DNA of the Meghan and Harry operation, is to be seen as headline grabbing, away from what the king is trying to do, and everything. And we saw that. And yet the trip to Canada backfires on them. And you probably know more about the Kardashian kerfuffle around the party, the photo gate. I mean, I don't know who said what, who agreed to not.
I've honestly felt this entire time like it was just a PR stunt, because the way it blew up and the way that it means absolutely nothing, it just feels like a clever stunt from the people that brought you the pube panties.
Well, I'm fair play. There's the first mention this week, and I immediately blush just for that. It seems to be like I will mention that. I think we're going to have to. Well, I'll tell you what. If Meghan and Harry go to spend time with the Kardashians at Christmas, which was so the rumor going around, which I just can't see that happening. But you never know. I don't know. Look, the Kardashians, or whatever they're called, are magnificent at PR and publicity. So. Can't work out who did what going on, but obviously it's created some sort of stir. But it feels a bit negative for Harry and Meghan. So again, anything they do, there does always seem to be a slight trail of, well, what really went on there?
Chaos.
And so, and the Canada trip might be well intentioned, and I think in part it was, but to then say that. But it overshadowed everything the king was doing and everything else that was
Prince
going on.
William in Rio with Earthshot, which is his big event every year. Yeah. So, and we know about it. The public knows about it months in advance. So Harry knew about it months in advance. I'm sorry, but this just feels like so intentional from Harry and Meghan.
Oh, yes. And I think it's getting tiring.
Yeah.
But we can all see it coming. And I don't know who decided to move the As Ever program to the 3rd of December. But I mean, they have gone through PR people. They've more PR people than I've had hot dinners this year, I think, probably. So the whole PR strategy is a mess, a permanent mess. And, the fallout from the Canada trip, they seem to have got that wrong. Everything seems to be a bit of a wild mess the whole time.
Yeah, I saw Tina Brown say Harry is stupid. I mean, she didn't word it that way, but she said Harry's not the brightest. Tina Brown is the former Vanity Fair editor, and now she also created the Daily Beast, and she wrote the Palace Papers. And she said Harry met Meghan and felt confident in her intelligence and thought she could really lead them away and lead them in a good direction. And she was like, I've never seen somebody make so many terrible decisions professionally than Meghan Markle. So she's like, you're dealing with two people that clearly aren't the brightest bulbs on the Christmas tree.
Beige Christmas tree. They're only allowed beige colours on the Christmas tree, but no, they're not. And they because Meghan is convinced by her rightness. Now, going back to the idea of them going to Australia, well, what are they going to go for? Of course they could go. Look, Zara Tindall and her husband go every year after Christmas. They're involved in some business. They've got some business links out there, and they go every January. They go out there dealing with something they're involved in, and just go and get on with their life. Okay, so they have it's fun while they're down there, but there's also a commercial reason for them going down there every January. Off they go, and the same. So they could go, but have they got the business dealings to go to Australia? What reason? But instead they're going to, pretend they're doing some charity work. Well, I don't know what charities he's involved in still that would actually be relevant for Australia. Lukiga might say go and see some servicemen and women, through the Invictus handle.
Can I ask you a very tacky question?
You can.
Do you think that when so he was invited by an organization in Canada to go and do that engagement. Do you think that they pay him? Do you think that he's getting paid to do that? and generate that interest in them and their charity?
It's a very difficult one, but someone's got to front up the expenses.
Yeah,
Now,
because
I wouldn't. So and I wouldn't know, and I couldn't answer that
do you think it's
truthfully
a fair
because
question to ask, though?
I
Because
think I know that charities. It is one of the things that maybe when you look at Centre Bali, the sort of expenses around the polo, they too much on that, not enough maybe going into the right place. Now, I don't know for sure, but this is the thing that annoys me. Charities can become very expensive ego trips
mm-hmm.
now for some people, and actually, the charity ends up not making as much money as it should. And this is, you've got to be very careful. So if Harry wants to go to Australia, who funds it?
Right.
And obviously they're in a commercial business. So they will be saying, well, we got to look this as a business opportunity. Now, maybe not necessarily linked to charities, but just like Zara and Mike Tyndall go down, I assume it is done as a business trip, and they're perfectly entitled to do that. There's no royal duties attached, but they know they're going to go down and get involved in various things down in Australia. Nothing wrong with that. And Harry and Meghan could do exactly the same. But the problem is, I'm not sure there are many companies that actually want to get involved with them because it always seems
It's also like I agree with you. I think if somebody's in their right mind, they do see these two as incredibly toxic. But there are some people that are so hungry for any type of mention in the media that Harry and Meghan are a guarantee. If you look at even the humanitarians of the year drama we had to go through in the last few weeks, we know that Harry and Meghan aren't humanitarians of the year. Meghan's been shilling her tacky products all year. I don't see much humanitarianism. But here's an example. When I used to throw events for celebrities or throw events for companies, and they'd use celebrities to get attention for their brand, we wanted Mariah Carey, but Mariah Carey was too expensive. So we would invite Nick Cannon and pay his small fee, knowing that Mariah Carey would likely show up with him because they were married and they showed up everywhere together. So we're luring
very
in.
clever, Kinsey.
We lure in the cheaper one and the one that was less name worthy or recognition worthy. And so I feel like the same thing is happening around the world with Harry. Well, we're probably not going to get William and Catherine, or William and Catherine are clearly busy, but Harry's unemployed and has nothing else going on. And so I get frustrated because the Queen said no half in, half out. And when you stand in a Commonwealth country and talk about your relatives that also visited the same venue, you're trying to remind us that you have this proximity to them. So you're royal and and that's not what the agreement was.
Well, no, and that's why I think the royal family get increasingly frustrated that they want, as they say, even writing with sort of showing off their titles, because Meghan just, that to use her word, elevates her.
Yeah.
And everything is about them trying to seem relevant. Yes, they love being in the spotlight. All going with the adage that all publicity is good publicity.
And when they do these faux royal tours, it makes them look like royals. And there are people that will pander to them, like People Magazine and Us Weekly, and give them those headlines. And they need to look like royals for relevance.
Yes, but will they get one to go to Australia? Probably Harry loves Australia. I'm sure he's had good times there. I don't know when he first went there, but he might have gone there as a young lad as well, just to have some fun in Australia, and he might have fond memories, but he's in a different place now.
I think it was Prince William that they took to Australia, a baby Prince William, and Princess Diana started calling him Wombat, which I love.
Well, I'm sure they've been going, Prince Charles has been going to Australia, or the King rather now, has been going forever. back from the 70s was always seen as a, dashing prince coming to Australia. And he's had a regular visitor to Australia. But for Harry, this is him trying to justify his existence because he has nothing to do. So they'll be trying to engineer something. And I don't know whether they will. We don't know where they're going to go next, but they seem to have dropped Nigeria, as soon as they went. There doesn't seem to be any referencing to that, even though
that's Meghan's DNA, dude. That's
right,
Meghan claims
right,
it is.
yeah,
I did say that to somebody recently. I was like, historically, they never commit to anything. Like, when is anybody going to acknowledge the fact that they show up and then never mention it again? Never, there's no follow through with any of these projects except admit
which is very different to the way that William and Catherine want to work. The Prince and Princess of Wales, they want their referencing to have sort of a message. We saw Catherine with another of her videos coming out again, again with the importance and the symbolism of early learning and with the importance of when an early baby, that sort of whole nurturing from a very young age can.
And her autumn video too just came out on social media about the importance of spending time outside. Yes, you're right.
And so, but all looking at the long term, and it's a regular message. And William with Earthshot, with and other things that he's involved in. And of course, last week, he built he was down there in Cornwall, opening up a footpath, a path to a football ground in the middle of Mousehole, which was the name of the village. We do have some funny names for villages.
So cute, I love it.
Yeah, Mousehole, and the football team didn't have a proper path to get up there, so he sort of cajoled through the Duchy of Cornwall, links and everything. And actually, someone I work with on a sister station, Talk Sport, Neil Warner, he lives down there. He was going along to meet him, and big sort of occasion, but important for William doing things that will have an impact and something that will be remembered. Whereas you look at Harry and Meghan, it's all the publicity seems about what's in it for me. Not what's in it for the people who come here. Will they benefit? And that mantra has to change. Whereas for William, Catherine, the King, the Queen, Princess Royal, you got the Duchess of Edinburgh currently in Peru, I think, in South America. They're actually out there trying to make a difference, whether it be on behalf of the nation or trying to help various charities. Whereas for Harry and Meghan, the mantra is it's me, me, me. And you see it in that horrendous video, lighting, and it's all about just how wonderful I am. And that shtick is getting very boring.
Whew, ain't that the truth? Mic drop for Rupert Bell. Any gardening updates before I let you go?
Well, yeah, as I say, chopped down my dahlias yesterday, and because the frost is coming, there's plenty of manure on them, so hopefully they will be protected for the winter. And I was shifting manure yesterday with my hands and gloves on.
What a stallion!
My day. Well, I wouldn't say that, but I would. It needs must. My dahlias are ready for whatever the British winter throws at them as of now.
I love it. Beautiful story, Rupert. Agree with us, disagree with us. Let us know in the comments below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. And let me know in the comments how many times you saw Rupert blush, because we saw it a couple of times. We went off on a couple of topics that Rupert wasn't prepared to today. And just let me know how many times you saw Rupert blush in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. Rupert Bell and Kinsey Schofield. We will see you again next week.